What in the after school special Hallmark moment is this?
Hey, can you let me finish my thought and then we can get to the nerdy stuff? God.
Welcome back to another episode of Nerds Around. It's your boys, Law,
Sebastian,
and your boy Tone from across the hall.
And today with us we have our lovely brother from another mother. I've known him for way too long. My boy.
Oh, hi. I'm Drew. Hi there.
Hey, Drew.
What's going on, Drew?
Today we are doing a creator series episode. Drew
Sweet.
is known throughout the cosplay and the nerd community for all of his many costumes, his creative endeavors, Ghostbuster panels, and the like. And you have recently started your own podcast. So we'll jump into all of that good fun stuff.
All that's very true. Thank you, Lawrence.
I just have a question for you, Drew.
Go for it.
Deadpooh. Inspiration. What? You have to tell me the inspiration behind that. Come on.
Okay, so for Antonio, since again this is the first time we're really meeting,
it is. I've heard of the Deadpooh because Sebastian has talked about it and raved about Deadpooh a number of times.
All right, so basically, I've been going to conventions since 2009, and of course, I've watched the cosplay really expand and whatnot. And of course, when you think of conventions, you always see Deadpools, and Deadpools are great and whatnot, but usually they range from being very funny to absolutely obnoxious in the bad way, like really, really on your nerves. But I've always really appreciated crossovers. And, instead of spending money, I was like, okay, let me think about something that I have that I could do that could be creative and not kill my piggy bank. Because, I'm like everyone here, I'm economically challenged. So, so one thing led to another, and I was just I used to borrow my mother's Winnie the Pooh costume for things, and I did this crossover, Dr. Pooh, which was a crossover of Doctor Who and Winnie the Pooh, which got a lot of hits, and I was like, wow, it was great. Although I wore the costume in the summer, which I don't ever recommend. Basically, I thought. I was like, wait a second, and I remember this. I was driving back from someone, and I was thinking of crossovers, and then I was like Deadpool, and then I was like, wait a second, move the letter H, Deadpooh, and I'm like, okay. And the funny thing is, it actually had been a comic for a series of years that somebody had done, but no one had made it happen, and I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And then that was 2015. I walk in. I'm the belle of the ball. It's like that scene in the movie where the ugly chick is suddenly gorgeous and everybody wants to sleep with her.
It was insane. So to give it perspective, I think that was the year that at least a good handful of my friends became like super notoriety, like cosplay famous. That's it. Like everyone just had that one cosplay that popped off. So we had our boy Steve, who had he was Aquaman with two left sharks. Where the left shark costume was like a big thing. It was like when I say it was a big deal. So Man Leo had the Aquaman chainmail, like he handmade
chainmail,
and was Aquaman with two left sharks, and was on what was it, Spencer's? If you were on Spencer's, then he was on Top Topic or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Instagram page. So everyone was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" Drew comes, and he's Deadpooh.
So essentially,
also got baptized by
stories.
The dead Pope.
You did indeed. So don't worry.
Deadpool Pope.
Thank you, Lawrence.
It was amazing.
Thank you, Lawrence, for that moving the timeline forward. So essentially, imagine just simple Deadpool mask. I'm in a full fuzzy Pooh suit. I've got two dual katanas on me, and I've got like fuzzy hands that are like it's penguin hands. So it's just like So basically, I can't do anything. I'm cursing someone. If I flip you off, it's the most adorable thing in the world. I'm just like, oh, hey, what's going on there? And they're like, thank you, sir. And I'm like, and they can't even see.
they see nothing.
The funniest thing is I'm taking photo ops of people because people have never seen this. So people are losing their mind. And the best is that there was a guy who was the Pope, and I was like, you know, being a former Catholic, this is amazing. So I was like, oh man, can you? And I was like, Your Holiness, can you give me some dap? And he blesses me, and I'm just like, so basically, I'm doing this whole thing, and I'm taking photos with like everybody. And the funny thing is, people didn't know it was me. I actually kept my mouth shut because apparently I'm on some Kevin Smith level. I can't do surprises. Like my girlfriend and Lawrence and other people are like, Drew, you can't do surprises because you get so excited that you want to tell the people what they're surprising, and you're just so happy that you lose your damn mind and you ruin the surprise. When you just shut your goddamn mouth, you'll get that and they'll appreciate it. But I actually kept my mouth shut. I only told 5 people. So that's big for me. Normally it's about 500. So basically, Antonio, I'm like one of the biggest things there. I'm on a bunch of stuff, and I don't let it get to my head. I'm not like, you know, I'm the greatest thing since Warbler right now. Like I'm Gucci. I'm Prada. I'm the new Flash. Okay, like screw Grant Wilson. I'm the new Flash. I'm Wade Wilson. I'm the honeypot right now. Just printing that much money. So it's a big thing, and then every year I bring it back. I always just do the same thing, but I've started to expand it. So the first year I had Hydra Piglet, which was Hydra Bob, Deadpool's kind of sidekick, and Piglet combined. Nice. And then the year after that, we had just something I came up with, which was Cablor. So that was Deadpool 2 was coming out, so Cable was big. So I combined Eeyore with Cable because I figured that, you know, Cable's from the future. He knows all this crap is going to happen. He's going to be depressed. Sebastian and Lawrence already know this. Is I met Dead Pope or Pope Pool or however you call him. I always thought of him as Dead Pope because I just think that's funnier. And he found me, and I was like, you know, this is awesome. And he told me, he was like, you're the reason I did this. And I was like, what? I was like, and he saw the photo of me being blessed, and he decided he was going to combine Deadpool with Pope. And and I take a photo and he blesses me. I was like, that's 2 for 2. And I inspired fusion. Like, okay, this is gonna be a great day. Let's do this. Let's kick life in the nuts. Let's go nuts. Yeah, man. So it's been crazy. Like that is like my crowning accomplishment. If I decided to retire tomorrow, on my cosplay tombstone would be he was dead, Deadpooh, and I'm like, fine with that. So there are so many other costumes I'm better at, but that I'm like, okay, been one move. It's pretty sweetness.
You recently, well, right now you've put together a podcast that you are working on now. Give us a little bit more information on the podcast, how it came to be, what was the origins and all that.
Oh, absolutely. So the podcast is called Strange Little Worlds. I started it with a friend of mine, Bentiné Jr, who was an old friend from my years in SUNY Purchase in undergrad. And she posted on her Facebook that she was looking to start like some sort of true crimes podcast. And I was looking for something to do because I clearly have way too much time on my hands if I'm creating things like Deadpooh. And I was looking to fill the time, and you know, we talked, we were reconnecting, and I was like, you know, my first love has always been Ghostbusters, and I really am a big fan of supernatural research, paranormally. I'm a big believer in that. Some kids get video games and toys. I always request ghost stories. So, you know, in my family, we always bring down, I still have the firehouse from the cartoon firehouse. It's always sit next to our Christmas tree. So, you know, it's a little mementos of Christmas past. But so basically, Antonio, one of the biggest things is I actually got to be a Ghostbuster. I actually made my own prop proton pack, which was my first real build, and it took me a year. I had no experience doing this. Like the most I've ever built was like minimal props. So I'm building this complex thing, and I have guides, I have experts, you know, all this stuff, and I'm building it. And there were a lot of frustrated nights, a lot of beer, and a lot of drunken calls to BFFs like, you know, Mr. Hat down there.
Because it would be like he'd get like a good way through, and then something would like prevent him from like progressing, and he just get frustrated, or something would break, and he's just like, oh, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to. I think I'm. You know what? I think I'm gonna let it go. I don't think it's worth it. And we're like, Drew, you've always wanted this. Like, just keep going for it.
And so basically, I built that, and then I acquired other stuff because Mattel apparently decided we're going to do more than Barbie. So, we're going to do props. And, I have the PKE, that little gizmo that texts the ghost. I had a ghost trap. I bought a uniform. And, that year I was like, said to my mother, I was like, you want a birthday present? If you could just sew on the patches for me, that would be great. And because she loves me, she's just, And then that Halloween, I think that was 2011, I suit up for the first time, and I am dressed as well as I can, everything. And I kid you not, man, I was more proud of that than I was getting grad school done in a year.
Oh, wow.
So, we went
down to the station. We went to NYU.
Yeah.
We had a couple iconic spots from the movies, and Drew gave us the the guide of the ghost tour, essentially.
Yeah, and it was amazing, and that was before I was even ever suited up. And that was my first real costume. So, I'm lugging like a 40 to 60 pound proton pack because it's a mix of wood, metal, plastic on my back. So, it's like carrying a bolt.
It's no joke.
It's heavy.
When I tell him he should work out with that thing all the time because that thing is like a beast.
Basically, it's like.
Did it have electronics? Like you did the whole nine?
I had electronics. I just didn't have sound. So I could switch it on. The thing looks boss. And I'm carrying it around like my back feels like a woman who lifted up a car to get her kid. Like at the end of the day, I am in pain. I am dying. I've seen
him go long stretches of convention to just not taking it off, and we're like, you should maybe just give me back a rest. Take it off for a little bit. And he's like, nah, I'm good.
Committed.
There you go. That's your target.
That's his full workout for those 3 days of con.
Yeah, it's just by then I'm like, I want food, I want drink, and I want a soft bed that I'm just gonna sink into like it's the pit of never-ending despair from Never-Ending Story. I was like, just
suck you
in. Let me go.
So with the podcast, it's currently on hiatus right now because due to COVID, it was a little difficult for me and my co-host to meet and whatnot. We used to meet every month. It's true crime supernatural stories. We've been going through the U.S. We went through all the boroughs of New York. Then we headed upstate. So that means from the Bronx past, because that's what most people define upstate now. And then we were going.
Drew, you know that it is upstate.
It is upstate.
Let's call it what it is.
The minute it says you're leaving the Bronx, you're now upstate.
Okay, guys, we're gonna agree to disagree.
We'll give a glorified pass to Cross County, but that's as far as we go. That's as far as we go.
So why he's about to argue this with us? Because I see it in his face. Is because he's born and raised in White Plains, and he's like, I'm not upstate. So you can't argue with the Bronx boys right now. You're 3 against 1.
He's getting ready.
Shut up, Lawrence. Don't tell me the odds. So basically, so that's that. So the last place we were in Rhode Island, and we're still planning on, essentially, we're going to go all the way up to Maine, circle back, then head down East Coast. Basically, we're going to do a supernatural style road tour where we're just going to hit a lot of points. And essentially for us, it's just about, telling, because again, there's so many stories, and it's for us, it's about research, it's about entertainment. We always do our best to be respectful, especially with true crimes. We do our best to be respectful to the victims' families.
What's been the most interesting podcast or segment so far? The one that you were most taken aback from?
I feel like for me, one of the stories that stuck out was there was a hotel in Rhode Island that was built by a Satanist.
What?
So, yeah, I was just like, wow. I was like, he was a known Satanist, and he had built places for temples, blood rituals, all this stuff in the hotel. So I was like, okay, so we're going to go to Motel 6 if we're in Rhode Island now. So just, doing that. I think the funny thing, gentlemen, is that what you don't realize is that the history really forms a lot of this stuff, because a lot of my research happens 1700s, 1800s, British soldiers, Civil War and stuff. You know, violence usually precedes a lot of supernatural incidences. You know, and it's funny because I've been getting back into supernatural, and I just feel I think I've said that to my co-host. I was like, we balance a Sam and Dean, Mulder and Scully kind of relationship. Just, you know, there's just a lot more laughter. But I think, like, especially when I did White Plains, like the Westchester area, of course I addressed places that I remember driving through. White Plains is a fun place like Buckout Road, which is, you know, pretty amazing. I got to cover my old college, which is, of course, haunted. So I'm just seeing a lot. It was funny because a lot of places that I've been to in my life, I was like, oh, there's ghosts here, there's ghosts here. I was like, born to be a Ghostbuster. So yeah, the podcast, it's usually what we were doing is we would do long episodes, usually about an hour and a half, and then we did mini episodes because we just wanted to keep giving you your fix so you'd keep coming back. So, you know, shorter segments for stories that weren't really too long, and then longer ones. So it honestly, I can't wait to go back because it's always such fun. So I actually have a question for you guys, you know, again, because the first time, because me and Lawrence, we've had, what was some of your favorite moments at a convention? If you had like one of your top moments at a convention, or if you're not really a con person, what's an equivalent to something like that?